Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about my Blu Ray slash 4K Steelbook collection. Thought it's about time to finally do one of these videos and figured I would start off with these Steelbooks. I realized that I have a pretty good amount of Steelbooks so far. Love collecting these things. Kind of getting a pain to find some of these right now, especially with Best Buy. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I figured I would start with this. And then depending on how this goes and if you guys really want to see it, maybe do like my full DVD, Blu-ray, 4K collection afterwards. So if you guys do like this video and if you want to see something like that, down the road, definitely let me know down below in the comments. And if you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button as well as the bell button next to it. That way you get notifications for all my new videos. But without further ado, let's go ahead and talk some Steelbooks. All right. So first off, we are going to start with Alita Battle Angel. I love this movie. It was one of my favorite films of the year it came out a couple of years ago, 2019. Yeah, 2019. One of my favorite films from that year. Got the 4K edition. This thing looks great in 4K. One of my favorite movies. Had to get this. Next up we got, probably going to go a little bit out of order because I have stuff kind of just like all over the place, but we got Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. And this was a really big surprise when this came out. Was not expecting to like this as much as I did. Was a really fun time at the movies. Had a great time with this. Then we got Knives Out. I really like what Lionsgate does with their releases for their Steelbooks, because you have the Steelbook itself, and then you have like the little case that goes over it. Like on the back, you have like all the knives, and then underneath, you have just the regular Steelbook. So something like slipcovers always just make things better, even when it comes to, especially when it comes to regular, releases that aren't Steelbooks. So I love this release as well. And we got something, actually, this is a recent release. I picked this up, I believe this just came out this year, and that is Almost Famous. Great film. And then we got, these guys actually have together, which is good. So we got Creed and Creed 2. Got both of those together, and once Creed 3 comes out, I'll have to get that because I definitely am a completist. We got A Star is Born. Really enjoyed this film. Haven't watched it since it came out, but I did really enjoy it when I saw it in theaters, so it'll be something I'll have to revisit soon. Then you got, so yeah, somehow this got mixed up when I was put in the piles. You have Jumanji, The Next Level. Wasn't quite as good as the first film, but it was still pretty fun. You have Bumblebee, and this one actually has, which I don't even remember. Yeah, it has like a little like comic book thing that it came with, but yeah, this was, I'm really hoping this is where the Transformers films, they're kind of going in this direction, especially the beginning of the movie where you got Cybertron and stuff like that. Give me that Generation 1, Generation 2, that like era. Really liked what they were doing with there, and I hope we get more of that in future films. And then, actually I have these right next to each other, which is perfect. We got Transformers the movie on Steelbook. I watched the shit out of this movie when I was a little kid. It's definitely been a little while since I have watched it, and I actually haven't gotten a chance to watch it on Steelbook yet, but I had to pick this up. And we got something a little bit more recent. We got Free Guy. This was a really fun film. Excited to see what they're going to do with the sequel. And then we got what might be, possibly, I definitely think this is probably one of my favorite Steelbooks that I own, and it's something that I just picked up this year. Again, it is Lionsgate. It is La La Land. This Steelbook, the way this thing, you have the case itself, then you have that slipcover, and when you take that off, underneath it, I just love the artwork on this thing. So cool. I really appreciate when studios, in my opinion, go all out for the artwork like this. And then, you have the Steelbook with like the moon like on the front. So definitely one of my favorites. I was glad I was able to pick this thing up because as a lot of you guys collect physical media, you'll probably know that Best Buy has been getting more difficult, it seems, with certain releases to get Steelbooks. So I was really happy I was able to get one of these. And we have Glass. I like the artwork on here too, where you have, everything, all the glass shards, and you have all the different, people split throughout. Haven't watched this since it came out in theaters, but I did really enjoy it when I saw it the one time. You can see the stuff on the back, but I don't want to peel the... I keep this little piece of paper that's on it. I keep it on a lot of my releases for some reason. I know a lot of people probably take it off, but I'm weird like that. Then we have... so this is really weird. We have John Wick Chapter 2. I only have Chapter 2 on Steelbook. Don't ask me why. I just think I haven't come across the first one yet, or the rest of the series, but I have Part 2. Then we have Bohemian Rhapsody. Solid film, wasn't amazing. I do like the artwork with, the gold. Has a matte finish. Solid Steelbook. One of the surprise films of a couple years ago? Yeah, I'm time is all just blending together. But Sonic the Hedgehog. This is a really fun film. Had a lot of fun with the sequel too. You guys, if you just saw my review, if you haven't, go ahead and check that out. And again, this one comes with has a little comic book with it as well. Then we got, gonna dive into some of my Christmas releases. Classic right here, Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase. Great film, I've seen this a number of times. I'll definitely have to review that one of these years for Christmas for sure. Then we got Elf, Will Ferrell. Just picked this up last year, I believe. Had it on DVD and finally upgraded it. Got the Steelbook. Watch this every year. It's definitely one of my, my favorite Christmas movies to watch every year. Then we got The Grinch, Jim Carrey's Grinch to be specific. Again, another film pretty much watch every Christmas. And then we got Home Alone, the original classic. Definitely watch this every year for Christmas. And I really, really like the cover art for this one right here. Especially where the, you have the Home Alone, the lettering, that kind of pops out. But just the design, it's kind of simple, but it really works for me for some reason. And then last but not least, I believe for my Christmas films, we have the Santa Claus collection. The original Santa Claus is arguably, it might be my favorite Christmas movie of all time. I watched this a ton as a kid, and so when I saw this was coming out, I really enjoyed Part 2. Part 3 is definitely the worst out of them, but it was still great to absolutely had to get this on, when I saw this was coming out for the collection. So awesome. I love the design too, how, again, the Santa Claus kind of pops out. And then we got my Fast and Furious movies that I have on Steelbook. So first we'll go with, this is the 20th anniversary edition. So it kind of comes in this case because there's a booklet that comes with it. And then you have the actual Steelbook, which is the same as this cover. The original Fast and Furious, I know a lot of people give the series overall shit, especially some of the later on, films. But the original film, for me, it's a personal classic for me. I've watched this movie so many times, and I remember growing up, it was just a really big thing, especially with the racing scene and everything like that. So I love this movie. I don't know about you guys. And actually, before that came out, I had this version. So I have two versions of the Fast and Furious on Steelbook. I do like this cover art too, kind of the comic booky style to it. And I got this pretty cheap, so. But when I saw the other version was coming out, especially where that was 4K, had to pick that up. You'll see there's a couple movies in my Steelbooks, I believe, that I have doubles of. And then we got Furious 7, last movie that Paul Walker was in. That was really sad. Okay, Steelbook cover art. And then we got the Fate of the Furious. I don't know if any of the other films... I know I got them on DVD and Blu Ray, but I don't know if the other films have Steelbook releases or not. If they do, let me know. And then we will go ahead and jump into... Let's go ahead and tackle a couple of my box set things that I got that are Steelbooks. So we got the Avatar: The Last Airbender series on Steelbook. And I love, love, love the packaging for this thing. I don't know if you guys can see that, but just like the outside of the case. Love the design of this thing. And then if you go, I will pull out each individual book. So actually that's going in the opposite direction because it goes 1, 2, 3. So hold on one second, guys. So we got for book 1, we got, that's what book 1 looks like. And then we got book 2. Of course, got Toph on there. And then we got book 3. Of course, Aang's on the front of that. So saw that when I saw this was coming out. I'm debating about if I'm going to get Legend of Korra. I definitely prefer Avatar as a series overall. There is things that I do like about Korra, but I'm not like the biggest fan of the series. So I don't know, like if I can get the series on Steelbook for a cheaper price, maybe I will, but we'll see. And then we got the Indiana Jones 4-movie collection. This was an absolute, must buy. Great series. Granted, not so much Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but overall great series. Had to get this on 4K. And then another absolute when I saw this was coming out, had to get this. Back to the Future, the 35th anniversary limited edition trilogy, all on Steelbook. Fantastic set. And I'm pretty sure I actually was able to, I had some coupons like at the time with Best Buy, so I was able to get this like a little bit cheaper too, so that was well worth it. Because they've done Blu Rays and stuff like for that, I believe. Let's go into like my horror / Halloween movies that I have for on Steelbook. So we will start off with, we got The Addams Family. Actually, I ended up buying this because I didn't have The Addams Family on Blu-ray at all. So I was like, oh, cool. Like, got the Steelbook, and I'm pretty sure this thing wasn't too expensive. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Really, really enjoyed this film. I was happy with all the monsters that was in it because I grew up on the books. So I was really happy with how the monsters, they were presented on the big screen. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do with the next volume in this because I believe they are making a sequel. And then we got It Chapter 1. Freaking love. I thought they did a fantastic job, especially with part 1 here. One of my favorite movie-going experiences. Was so much fun. And then we got It Chapter 2. I actually think I prefer the cover art for part 2 more than I do part 1, but both of them really enjoy. Overall, as a movie, I prefer part 1 over part 2, but overall great. And I'm excited to see what they're going to do with the new prequel series, Welcome to Derry, I believe it's going to be called. Definitely interested in that. And actually, while I'm talking about it, I have the original miniseries on Steelbook as well. This was something I remember growing up as like a kid. It was like, for me growing up, in the 90s, this was a movie that a lot of people, or series, kids were like, you have to watch it. It's the scariest thing ever. I know a lot of people think of like The Exorcist and stuff like that, but I remember Pennywise was definitely up there. So I had to get this. Great memories watching this movie. We got another Stephen King release, Salem's Lot, and both of these weren't too expensive. Like I want to say $10-15 as far as like the Steelbooks go, so not too bad. And then this guy right here. So I believe this is actually going for a decent amount of money on eBay and stuff right now. And I'm wondering if we're going to get a new release of this. I imagine we probably will, so it'll probably drop in value. But The Lost Boys, one of my favorite movies, definitely one of my favorite vampire movies. So I was really glad. I think I snagged this at Newberry Comics like years ago. And it's crazy just how much the value in some of these Steelbooks has gone up over the years. And then we're going to go with the new Scream film. One of my favorite films of 2022 so far. I know some people are kind of mixed on it, but I'm a big Scream fan, and I thought they did a great job with this. Love the cover art here too, and was glad that I pre-ordered this because I believe this is sold out like online on Best Buy, at least the last time I looked. Maybe it's back up on there, but they're definitely getting harder to find. Was glad I grabbed this one. And then we got the 25th anniversary edition of the original Scream, Had to pick this up. Scream is one of my favorite movies of all time. Came out on 4K. Just a must-have, and I like this cover art, too. And then we got the Quiet Place series, at least up to this point. So we got the first one, and the cover art in here is so cool. I love the scratches, claw marks going across, because it's kind of like embedded into the Steelbook. So, and freaking love this movie. When it came out, one of my favorite films of the year. Just the sound design, amazing, and just the whole film is in general absolutely must have. Then we got Quiet Place Part 2, which I really enjoyed almost just as much as the original film, so I can't wait to see where they're going with the I believe the next one's going to be a spin-off, but they are doing like a part 3 from what I've heard, so really excited to see what they do with that. I definitely prefer the cover art for the first film over the second one. We got a film that a lot of people are kind of split on, which is Jordan Peele's Us. I do dig, the cover art here is pretty simple, but I dig it. I'll have to revisit this one. It's been a little while since I've watched it. And then we got, so this is a movie, I have a couple versions of this film, and that is Sleepy Hollow. I always watch this every year around Halloween. Just the aesthetic to it. Christina Ricci, one of my favorite actresses. You got Johnny Depp in there playing, Ichabod Crane. An amazing, amazing film. Instantly gets you into the fall Halloween spirit. And again, one of those like releases. I think I picked this up at FYE last year, the year before, and it was like $10-12, something like that. So it wasn't too bad. Again, and then here we have another one of my favorite Steelbooks that I own, and that is I believe this is the 25th anniversary edition of Hocus Pocus, and it's actually the book from the film. When I saw that this was coming out, I was like, yep, this is a day one pre-order, and I was glad I got it because I remember this was selling at one point pretty high on eBay as well. I don't believe it's quite as high anymore because there is another release that I'm going to talk about in a second. But yeah, if you're a Hocus Pocus fan, definitely try and get this if you can for a reasonable price. And then, so here we have Hocus Pocus. This is the 4K edition. And pretty cool artwork on here. I probably, at one point, like, for some reason, like, the spine on this thing, it doesn't quite sit right. You guys probably can't see it from here. And I was going to buy another version and, like, give this away or something, and I just didn't do that. I think it's on eBay for not too high, so I might still get that at some point, but yeah. But I do dig the cover art for this, but I prefer the book version for sure, although I'm glad that I got it in 4K. And then here you got Casper, the 25th anniversary. Was so happy to see that this came out on, Steelbook this past year? Year before? Yeah. As you can see, guys, I don't know, I'm just like, I'm not doing too well with that in this video, but yeah, I love this film. Pretty much watch this every year. Was a movie that, I've always been a huge Christina Ricci fan, and one of my favorite films, especially, growing up as like a kid, so had to get this on Steelbook, and the cover art is awesome too. Then we got John Carpenter's The Thing, classic horror film right here, and I really, really dig the cover art. It has like a matte finish to it. But yeah, I mean, if you guys haven't seen The Thing, definitely recommend you guys checking this out. The creature design, the effects, top notch. And then we got It Follows. I'm going to do a video on this at some point because this is definitely, it's one of my favorite horror films of recent memory. If you guys have not checked it out, definitely suggest you guys doing so. There's just so much. I feel like it's almost underappreciated to a degree, so there's going to be a video on this film at some point. And I am glad that I got the Steelbook for this because this poster is so freaking cool. Like, it's definitely something right out of the 80s, which the film is going for. Love the design for this. And I think I actually got this from, like, Target, I believe it was released at, which was kind of weird. All right, now this is going to be, you guys are going to be like, really? The first film, like, not so much, but we got the Star Wars trilogy. So, got The Force Awakens here. This definitely holds like a special place in my heart. I got to see this with my brother. It was the first Star Wars film that came out in a while. I got to see this with him on opening night. So that was really cool. And I thought The Force Awakens was really well done. It was a good start to a new trilogy. Granted, they might not have finished it, that way. But I really enjoyed The Force Awakens. Then we have The Last Jedi, controversial film to say the least. I do like the cover art. The cover art, is nice. But yeah, the movie is definitely kind of mixed. And then, of course, we have The Rise of Skywalker. And I pretty much ended up getting these two. As I said before, I am a completist, so I had to get these two to complete the collection. So yeah, granted, I'm sure these things are probably not worth really any money, but I have them in my collection. All right, so here we're getting a little mixed up. Things get a little messed up. I try to keep things kind of like in sections, not necessarily alphabetical order. But anyways, we got Doctor Sleep. Again, one of my favorite horror films from recent memory. And this has the director's cut on here as well. If you guys have not seen the film in general, highly recommend it if you are a fan of horror, but especially if you're a fan of Mike Flanagan, Stephen King, even Stanley Kubrick, because he does a good job with this film of covering both the book original book of the series and then the film adaptation as well. And which, I thought was a tall task to do, but I thought Mike Flanagan did a great job with this. One of my favorite films of the year. Had to pick this up, and I'm so glad I did, because between this and then The Shining, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, I checked on eBay recently, and these two things, Steelbooks, were actually going, I think, for a pretty good amount of money. So I'm glad that I picked these up, and I got both of these on 4K. Then we'll go ahead and, of course, we got some classics here. We got The Goonies, got this a couple years ago. Got this on, this is just regular Blu Ray. I know there was a 4K edition, I believe that just came out, but I'm good with the Blu Ray for right now. I like the cover art here. This is some really solid cover art, and as the piece of paper is falling off. But The Last Action Hero on 4K, really dig that, that cover art here. It's just really loud, coming out of the movie theater, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Had to pick this up. Then we got Super 8 by J.J. Abrams. So I haven't had a chance to watch this yet, and it's been a while since I have, checked it out. But I remember really digging this film, and a lot of people say that Stranger Things kind of ripped off from this. So I need to check this out. I don't necessarily agree with that as far as Stranger Things goes either. But the cover art on this is fantastic, and it's on 4K. So I can't wait to revisit this film, and I can't believe it's been 10 years for this movie. Holy shit. We got Disney's Mulan. Probably one of my favorite animated Disney films. Always loved this growing up, so I had to pick it up. And again, great cover work. I always appreciate when, they go all out for the cover work. And even the little, you guys probably a laugh, but even the slip cover art kind of thing for the Steelbook. You just have these little extra pieces that, I don't know, to me, you just have to keep it with the Steelbook. I can't get rid of it. Unless for some reason it's just completely falling off, then maybe I will, but otherwise I try and keep them with the film. I'm probably ridiculous, but that's okay. We got Tigers Are Not Afraid. This was a foreign film that came out a couple years ago. If you guys have not seen this, I highly recommend it. It was a great film. I don't know. I know I'm looking on the back here. It says Shudder, so I'm sure it's probably on a number of places now for streaming. It's only 84 minutes, but yeah, I thought this was a really well done film. And I remember when this came out, it was kind of hard to get on Steelbook as well. So glad that I picked this up. We got Ready Player One. So the cover art for this is kind of okay, the matte finish. Yeah, they definitely could have done better with this. And I know some people are kind of mixed on this film too. But I really enjoyed Ready Player One, and I do hope that we get a second film. I'm probably in the minority there, but yeah, I just thought this was a really fun time in the movies, a good popcorn flick, and I'm glad that I got it on 4K because it looks great in my opinion. We got the Rocky collection here, which I got this for Christmas, and it sucks because I got it, and for some reason, it looks like this copy, there's 3 dents right here. So I don't know if this thing it came wrapped in plastic, but it looked like it was almost used as target practice, with someone shooting at it. So I don't know how that happens, so that's kind of annoying. But it's great to have the whole Rocky collection on, DVD, on Steelbook. Maybe one day I'll upgrade this thing, but, I got that a couple years ago. Classic here, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and again, another release from Lionsgate. So you got the cover art, right here with the slipcover, and then you pull that up, and then you got the, the Terminator there in the back. It's so cool. I love that the extra mile that they go with these releases. I really hope that Lionsgate keeps that up. We got the 45th anniversary of Jaws. Haven't had a chance to watch this on 4K yet, but I've heard great things, and I remember watching this for the first time as a kid. Really scared the shit out of me to go back into the ocean. But yeah, really excited to check this out on 4K. Another classic movie. We got the Shawshank Redemption. Solid cover art here. Maybe could have done like a little bit more, but I mean, great film. Have to have this in your collection. Movie that I actually picked up not too long ago. I got it at a local store that you buy used like media, and that is Clueless. Really like the cover art here where it kind of blends in with her dress. Classic 90s movie. And then another, in my opinion, another classic, Heathers, and that is the 30th anniversary edition. I remember the first time I watched this movie and I was just like, this is some really dark shit. And Winona Ryder, she is great in this film. And I was like, what the fuck is his name? Christian Slater. He's fucking crazy in this movie as well. If you have not seen Heathers, definitely recommend you guys checking it out. But just a heads up, it is a really weird film. Then we got, I mean, this stack like here is just like, some classic movies. We've got Ferris Bueller's Day Off. This was pretty cheap. Same thing with Pretty in Pink. These guys, I want to say, were, because they're not, well, celebrating 35 years. I was going to say, if I remember correctly, like 15, 20 bucks. Like, I want to say closer to 15 for these. And then we got the 35th anniversary of the Breakfast Club. I like that this is, it has the locker artwork to it. And the little pieces of locker here, those are kind of sticking out. So that's really cool. Probably one of my favorite high school movies of all time. And then finally for this pile, we have Some Kind of Wonderful. So some really great, 80s, 90s movies in this pile right here. Yep, we are pretty much all in the superhero pile that is left. So we'll start off with some DC. We're going to, I actually just noticed this. This is the original Suicide Squad film. Yes, I do have this on Steelbook. Haven't watched it in a while. I don't hate it as much as some other people do. Granted, it's not the greatest thing, but I mean, we got Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn in the film. Will Smith was good as Deadshot. I know things are kind of crazy with him right now. It has its moments, but I definitely prefer the second Suicide Squad, which I got somewhere in here. So, but I do have this. I just noticed it's like dented, and I don't remember that being on there before, so I don't know how that happened. And not a superhero film, but this was kind of put in here, I think, because like Disney. This is Cruella. I love this movie. I absolutely had no expectations of this film going in, and it blew my mind. I actually have something really cool coming up regarding this movie. We'll talk about that soon on this channel, but I love the cover art, work here. And if you guys haven't checked it out, I recommend you guys do. Give it a chance. I think you might be pleasantly surprised. And here we go with another Lionsgate film, and this is Kick-Ass. I remember when this movie, the first time that I watched it on DVD, I think years ago, because I don't believe I actually saw this in theaters, because I had no idea what this movie was. And just the scene that stands out to me is when Hit Girl, she's talking to those, the two guys in like the house, and she's like, all right, you cunts, let's see what you got. And I was just like, so yeah, one of my favorite superhero films that, is not DC or Marvel. This was a blast, and again, you have the, the cover art, or the slipcase cover. Not a whole lot different like what's underneath, but still pretty cool. I appreciate that slipcover. It protects the Steelbook too, which is nice. Remember, the 5th of November, we have V for Vendetta on 4K. I'm having trouble talking right now for some reason. Amazing cover art, amazing film. And then, so we're going back into like some DC, so we're a little bit messed up here. When I put them all on the floor, things got messed up a little bit, but whatever, we'll roll with it. Then we got the new Suicide Squad. One of my favorite films of last year. I like the cover art for this thing, but I feel like they could have went with something else. Because it's kind of similar to what they did with the first film. And, like, I get why they did it, but I feel like I wish they almost would have went with another design for it. But I absolutely love the film. I know some people, it was balls to the wall, kind of all kinds of weird, crazy shit going on. It's James Gunn. I think that's one of the big reasons I liked it. King Shark, Ratcatcher, they were amazing in the film. Ratcatcher is probably my favorite character. But overall, just great performances, and I think a big step up from the original film. And then we got Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. This movie blew me away. It was cool and refreshing to see an R-rated superhero film because I feel like we don't get a lot of those anymore. And this was a movie that I feel like earned that. Because sometimes, people are just like, oh, I want this to be rated R, and it doesn't necessarily have to. But I feel like this was a film that definitely benefited from that. And, great to have this on 4K. Fantastic movie. All right, guys, I believe we are into the Marvel... nope, just kidding. I lied. I know I am a terrible person. Yeah, we got a couple more DC. I think that's it. We got Wonder Woman here. Love the original Wonder Woman film. 84. People hate that movie. I didn't hate it quite as much, but I mean, the first film is definitely far superior. Cover art here... I think they did another release, and I was almost going to pick that up, because this, I only picked it up just because it's the Steelbook and I like the movie, but the cartoony look to it, not a huge fan of it. And then they did it here again with Aquaman, like a cartoon look to it. So I don't know what it was with like these couple DC films that they went with that cartoony comic book look to it, but for some reason, some of it just feels off. But I enjoyed the first film. I'm curious to see what they do with the second movie. And then now, guys, I believe, yes, we are into my Marvel films. So what we are going to do, we will start off with, not like quite like the MCU yet, but we'll start off with Venom. Enjoyed the first movie, and the Steelbook cover art has a matte finish to it. It's cool, nothing crazy. It's fine. Then we have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Amazing. The animation in this movie is top-notch. The cover art, again, could have went with something. For a film that has such great visuals, I feel like they could have went with something a little bit better for this cover, but that's just me, my opinion. Some of you guys might love it. But yeah, I feel like they could have went with something else. Then we got Logan. One of my favorite comic book movies of all time. I love the fact, too, that with this movie, they had the Noir version of it, too, the black and white. For them, for Hugh Jackman to end his role as Wolverine with this film, I hated it, but at the same time, I thought it was a great way for him to end. And Daphne Keane as X-23, she was fucking amazing in this movie. I really hope we get to see her pop back up in the MCU or something in the future. That would be so cool. Just one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. And it works not only as just a comic book movie, but just as a movie in general. If you guys have not seen Logan, definitely check that out. And then we got the Merc with the Mouth, Deadpool himself. And I actually really dig the cover art for this. But I mean, people were waiting on this movie for a while, and when it came out, it delivered. Hopefully we finally get some more news on Deadpool 3 soon. Ryan Reynolds obviously made to play that role. Love Deadpool. And then we got, which I believe this probably isn't worth quite as much anymore, but I had picked this up several years ago. This is the first Blade. Again, probably one of my favorite, it's definitely up there for one of my favorite comic book movies. I remember seeing the Blade movies when I was a kid in theaters, and it was just who, I didn't know any, at the time, as a kid, I didn't really know who Blade was, in the comics or anything like that. But just seeing this dude, especially that opening nightclub scene where he's just chopping up vampires left and right, shooting them. One of the best, openings for a comic book movie of all time, in my opinion. And I picked this up at a flea market, and this was actually going for a good amount of money. I don't know if it is anymore, because now we do have I ended up picking up the 4K release that got released by Best Buy. So I'm sure that's probably went down in value. And I do prefer like the cover art for this, and I'm so glad this is on 4K because I fucking love this movie. All right, and now I believe, I keep saying this, but I believe we are finally into the MCU movies. So we'll go ahead and go through these. Starting off with, it's not going to go exactly in order, but we got the Incredible Hulk. Some people forget that this is technically included in the MCU, but we got the Incredible Hulk here. Then we got Iron Man 1, the movie that really, kind of started it all for the MCU. We got, of course, Iron Man 2. These were all released by Best Buy a couple years back, and I picked up most of them around that time. Actually, it was around the holidays, and I had like the $5 gift certificates and stuff like that, so I got some of these for a pretty good deal, and I think they were even on sale at the time too. We got Iron Man 3, and we got Captain America, the First Avenger, Captain America, the Winter Soldier, probably one of the best films in the MCU up to this point. We got Captain America, Civil War. This is one of the few films, looking at my Steelbooks, that doesn't have like the paper thing on it, so I'm actually surprised I got rid of this, but I really dig the cover art here. Then we'll go into the Thor films. I was really glad that Marvel decided, or Best Buy did the 4K releases of these, because I don't know if some of these actually had Steelbook releases. I want to say they didn't. Then we have Thor: The Dark World. I know a lot of people hate this movie, probably one of the worst movies in the MCU. And we got, finally, Thor: Love and Thunder. Ha! We don't even have a trailer for that yet. No, this is Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, hopefully we get a trailer for Thor: Love and Thunder soon. And possibly, because I don't know if I'm going to get this video up by tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow this week we're getting that trailer. So by the time this video goes up, we might have actually seen the movie. But this is Thor Ragnarok. Great film. And then we'll go into the Ant-Man series. So we got Ant-Man 1. We got Ant-Man 2. I think I prefer the cover art for Ant-Man 1 for those. We got Doctor Strange. And then we got the Guardians of the Galaxy. So this is definitely, it's one of my favorite Marvel movies of all time up to this point. And as you guys can possibly see, this is still in the packaging. I have not opened this up, and the reason being because I actually have another copy of this just on regular Blu Ray / 4K, I believe. Definitely Blu Ray. But I remember when this came out, I was trying to get this at Best Buy, and I was on the phone, like, using multiple phones trying to get a hold of them. No one was answering, and basically the thing ended up selling out. But I went on eBay, and I found someone who actually was in my area, so I didn't have to pay for shipping. They actually just came and dropped the Steelbook off, so I got this for a reasonable price. And yeah, I just haven't taken that out of the packaging. One of my favorite, probably for the Marvel Steelbooks, it has the cassette tape. One of my favorite packagings for them for sure. And then even with Guardians Volume 2, you have the Groot with the do not push button. And same thing, I haven't taken this out of the packaging because I have this also on Blu Ray / 4K. So yes, I do have multiple copies of some of these films. I am a weirdo. I am completely aware of this. We have Captain Marvel. Some people, I wasn't a huge fan of this when I first saw it, but it's one of those things, completists have to get it. I'll have to watch this again, especially with like Miss Marvel and stuff coming out, just to give it another try. We got Black Panther. Rest in peace, T'Challa. And then we got the Spider-Man trilogy. So here's Spider-Man Homecoming. This is not the initial release of the Steelbook. I believe there's another version. I got this. This came out afterwards. I didn't have Homecoming though on Steelbook, so I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to pick this up. So I got it on Steelbook at least. I know it's not the original version. And then I do have, these are the originals. I got Spider-Man Far From Home. And recently, I was waiting for this to come in to do this video. I got my Spider-Man No Way Home Steelbook. This thing was a pain in the ass to get. Best Buy is, like I mentioned before in this video, Best Buy is becoming very difficult to get some of these Steelbooks. You basically got to pre-order these things right away, or if it's like a big release, there's a chance that you might miss out on them. So I don't know if it's just because they're cutting back on physical media, but yeah, that was hard. Like I remember literally, it would it would pop in and out of stock. Like it would say like it's, you know, in stock, and then like within a minute or two, it would go back to coming soon. One day, I was just literally had my phone on while I was doing something else that I won't mention, but I basically had time to be on there and just kind of watch it, and I was lucky enough to get it. So yeah, really glad I was able to snag that, because I would have been pissed. Like, they're going for ridiculous prices on eBay, and I refuse to pay those. We got Eternals, very split movie for Marvel. I really enjoyed this, and I'm gonna have to, I've only seen it in theaters, but I'll have to, you know, watch this on 4K, but I did really enjoy it at the theater. Then we got Shang-Chi in the Legend of the Ten Rings. Great introduction to a new character in the MCU. Black Widow. Probably a little bit too late for her movie, but I thought it was really well done, and it introduced us to Yelena. And I actually really, really dig the cover art for this Steelbook. So that outfit, though, yep. And then last but not least, we have Avengers: Age of Ultron. We have Avengers: Infinity War. And then finally, we have Avengers: Endgame. So you guys will probably notice I don't have the original Avengers on Steelbook. And I am so mad at myself that I don't know if I just couldn't find it at the time or whatever when I was getting these movies. But now, I've been trying, because that's literally the only movie that I'm missing as far as like the MCU collection with Steelbooks. And I've seen it on eBay. I just refuse to pay some of these prices that people are selling this thing for. And I might just have to break down and buy it one of these days, because it's the only movie that I'm missing. But yeah, I've seen it, like, I don't know what the lowest price, or yeah, the highest price that I would pay for this thing would be. But like, I refuse to pay like $100, you know, $70, $80. I'm hoping I can get it down to like 40 or something like that. I mean, that's even like a little bit high. But yeah, every time it's up there, when it gets down, I've seen get close to like 50, 55, and then someone buys it. So hopefully one day I'll finally fucking own that movie and then have the complete MCU collection on Steelbook. But until that day, I'm missing that one movie. But yeah, that is my Steelbook collection, guys. I want to say, and if you guys went through, if any of you guys will actually want to count all of those movies, I know I definitely have over 100 Steelbooks so far, which is pretty freaking crazy. Some of these things can be expensive, so, but yeah, I mean, I love Steelbooks. They can be a little bit more expensive, but I just feel like the casing, a collector myself, I really appreciate that little extra detail. Some of them, sometimes they can be a pain in the ass to get, but yeah, that is my Steelbook collection. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know, do you guys have a Steelbook collection yourself? What are some of your favorite Steelbooks, and how many Steelbooks do you own in your collection? Let me know down below in the comments. Again, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you want to see me do another video in the future as far as my DVD Blu Ray collection, because I know I have several hundred movies as far as that goes, so that might take a little bit longer, but let me know if that's something that you would like to see, and I can do that definitely in the future, so let me know down below in the comments. And again, if you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button as well as the bell button next to it. That way you do get notifications for all my new videos. That's very important. And if you can, guys, please give this video a thumbs up, as it really helps with the YouTube algorithm. And as always, guys, please make sure to check back for more Pop Culture with Pat.